via the magic of Skype. Always appreciate after a fight when someone comes on. So let us say hello. And there she is. Wow, that's much better Skype than Colby Covington. So thank you for this, Carla. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How's it going?
Things are going well. So you say you are doing great. I know that was a 5-year journey with Claudia, and I know you were disappointed in the result. Just about the fight itself and how it ended. How do you digest this on a Monday morning?
It's a little bit difficult. It sucks not getting your hand raised, but honestly, I didn't walk out of the cage, or I'm not feeling now like I should have my head held like down. I'm feeling like I should have my head held high. I personally feel like I won the fight. I know a lot of the fans agree with that. So I mean, I feel good other than half the paycheck. I feel pretty good about the fight.
Have you had an opportunity to watch the fight?
I actually just watched the fight right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, while you were watching, did you kind of score it? And if so, which rounds do you think you won?
I personally think I won rounds 1 and 3.
Uh-huh.
I definitely think throughout the fight I inflicted the majority of the damage. I mean, as you can see, I really didn't get beat up too bad. I felt like, she got some takedowns, and she was able to, kind of she was just holding on for dear life and didn't really inflict much damage in the fight. And it's a fight. To me, if you want to win, I feel like you have to do something, you know?
So why do you think they scored it for her? Like, do you have any sort of idea as to why the judges would give her the nod?
You never know. Like I definitely think that she got, more takedowns and had more control time. You know, maybe just certain judges kind of score more heavily on takedowns and control, even if there is no damage really being done. So I think a lot of judges tend to not be on the same page. I mean, obviously it was a split decision, so one judge thought differently, but it is what it is. And I don't want to be like a sore loser, but I personally I know that I just felt that I won the fight.
It's amazing to me that that is still brought up, because I feel like most people who follow the sport know that just a takedown with no damage inflicted afterwards doesn't really, or shouldn't really mean much. And yet it seems like you score a takedown here, even if the opponent pops back up. Those are heavily weighted, and it just kind of boggles my mind, and it's frustrating for me. I can't imagine how it must be for the athlete involved. It has to be frustrating, right? That you never really know what kind of judging criteria. I don't care if it's new, old. It seems like every judge has its own criteria. That has to be frustrating, right?
Yeah, exactly. I wish everything was just kind of across the board, like there was a standard in judging, so that you kind of knew, like, okay, this is what I have to go and do, because you never really know what you're going to get with the judge and what he kind of scores higher or values more in the fight. If there was, I think, a set standard, I think we'd have more of an idea how to just game plan for the fight, and what weighs more heavily, and what is more likely to get you the win.
Considering the history with her, was this a bit of a tougher pill to swallow?
It was a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. The fans, and like in the crowd, and then the fans online definitely made it a little bit easier. I feel like just a lot of people were expecting me to get kind of crushed. I saw a lot of people putting "Rest in peace, Carla. Good luck on this one." And I felt that I opened a lot of eyes. I feel good about my performance. Other than obviously not getting my hand raised. I feel good. And like I said, we spoke before the fight. I'm just kind of glad to get this one, this finally put behind me. I've never been scared to fight her, even though she's kind of suggested that. I showed up to fight her 2 times in the past, and she didn't show up. So, I was just kind of glad to put that to rest.
Did you guys say anything to each other after the fight?
No, I just shook her hand. Like I always try and be respectful to coaches. Regardless of whatever happens in the fight. Just and my opponent shook her hand. What I mean, personally, I have things to say to her. I mean, flat out, like, this is not an excuse to, because I lost, because honestly I felt that I still won. But she cheated in the fight. She greased, before the fight. I was considering saying something to the ref in between the fight. uh I was gonna say, like, she's greasing, but I didn't really know how to go about it. um it's pretty shady to me. And I rewatched, the like I said, finally rewatched the fight, and I was just, my hands were slipping right off. Even when I was trying to grab arm bars in the fight, my arms were just like slipping right down. She's a cheater, but it doesn't really surprise me. You know what I mean? In my opinion, she's been a dirty fighter throughout. So it is what it is.
Wow. That is quite the revelation. Had you heard leading up? I know the community is kind of small. Had other opponents told you this, that you need to watch out for this type of stuff?
No, not at all. Not at all. But just throughout her career, like, I just felt that I'm not, like I said, I'm not too surprised that she's, a cheater, and she, found a way. It's kind of upsetting, because, like I said, I felt that I won it anyway. But I felt like that things could have even, been more dominant on my side, had that not been the case. And you know, I just, Claudia, you're a cheater, like, straight up. It's not cool, but it is what it is. So it's done with.
Have you ever fought someone who you thought was greasing? Have you ever been in that position before?
Not in my recollection, no. Not that I can remember. But I mean, fighting a wrestler, like, I could see why somebody, would think to do something like that. My last fight, like, I try to sink in the armbar. I've been working, I felt like I've working on a pretty hard, solid armbar, and I felt like I had it set up a couple times this fight. But when I, like, locked higher on the arm, my arm just kind of, like, slid right down, and it was like, I was, at the end of the second, I was gonna, say something to the ref, but I was just like, I didn't, and I kind of regret it, but I don't really know how to have gone about that. Really, I haven't been in that situation before.
Hmm. Do you regret not saying anything?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't know if it would have made a difference, or maybe they could have towed her off, or I really don't know. Like, I don't know too much about this. I've heard of people doing this, like, over the years, and back in Pride, and, just, over the years, but, I'd never actually experienced it before.
Did you even say it to your coaches, or you told them afterwards?
I told them afterwards.
Ah,
I told them after, and like, as soon as we stepped off, I was like, that's effing BS, dude. I was like, she was freaking greasing. That's not cool. I was a little bit upset about it, but it was just a fight. Like, I was like, it is what it is sometimes.
what when you're walking out and you hear the booze like that, does that make you feel a little bit better?
Yeah, I definitely felt like I had the crowd behind me, and going out, I felt like she had a big support. I know a lot of the crowd was, like, cheering for her. She has a big fan base, but walking out, I felt like I definitely had a lot of the crowd behind me, and it definitely makes me feel better. But it doesn't get me in line for a title shot. It doesn't fill my bank account. You know what I mean? So that kind of sucks.
Uh,
But
Sometimes
it's a fight game.
when there are these controversial decisions, the UFC brass, whether it's matchmaker Dana White, someone will come up to the back and say, "Hey, for whatever it's worth, I thought you won that fight." Did anyone of note in the UFC say that they thought you won?
I actually had, like, a lot of people, say things like that to me. I don't want to put anybody's, like, name out there or anything, just
Okay,
out of respect,
sure.
because I know they're employees, and I don't want to, like, put it out there. But no, I definitely had a lot of people, like, saying things to me, and it definitely made me feel better. And hopefully, it just, I don't know, hopefully down the line I can work back up to a title shot. I know this kind of sucks, because this kind of bumps me out of the running, even to work my way up. But
I feel though, as long as you have that history with Rose, which you do, that's not going away. I still feel like you're in that that radius with a win or two. So I don't feel like it knocks you down as much as perhaps on this Monday you may think.
Yeah, I guess only time will tell, you know. I mean, I'm here to fight anybody, whoever they put in front of me. I've never turned down a fight. So, whatever's next for me is next. But I mean, whoever's, in that title position, I'd love to have that belt once again, you know. And I want to keep getting better and better. I think a lot of people, took note this fight that, I'm not going backwards. I'm continually trying to evolve and get better and work my way towards being at the top again.
It also feels, even despite what happened on Saturday, it feels like it's coming together for you. Like in the past, maybe you were taking these long breaks and you would win one and drop. And I know officially in the record books, there's an L there right now. But do you feel like you're fighting better than you ever have for like a prolonged stretch in the UFC?
Oh yeah, definitely. I've been working, the last couple of years continuously, and I just think it's coming together more and more each and every fight. And I think that people have been finally taking notice that I'm not just a wrestler anymore. That I can stand up, I can kick, I can knee, I can elbow, like everything. And I think, you know, I'm not even close to being done. I'm in my prime right now, and I just want to keep working my way up.
One of those goals for the future, would it be to get another shot at her?
At Claudia.
Yeah.
Shoot, girl, I'll fight you right now. I'll fight you in the parking lot. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I would love to fight her again. It just kind of sucks, just the way that it went down. I think if she had kind of dominated me, I'd be like, she was just a better fighter. But just with the way that things went down, with the controversial decision, and then with with the greasing and all that, it kind of, I still feel a little bit open to it. I'd love to fight her again. I'd love to get that chance to punch her in the face again for sure.
I was just wondering if the experience soured you on the idea, and despite the fact that it was a controversial loss for you, you want nothing to do with her.
I'm sorry. I want nothing to do with her. What do you mean?
No, the reason I was asking was because I'm
Oh
sure you.
yeah, yeah.
I was wondering if even though you'd love to punch her, but because all that other stuff happened, that you're just like, you know what, I don't need to deal with this anymore. It's such an emotional roller coaster fighting her.
Yeah, no, but if
It's
anything,
still.
it kind of sparked more of an interest for me. I'm like, ah, dang. Yeah, I
I,
want to
I
just get back in there and get things how I felt that get my hand raised against her.
I feel you. By the way, just curious about your hair. Do you usually keep it braided this long after the fight?
Yeah, I actually usually take it out like today. So
Okay.
today will be the last time. I'm sure there's some sweat and some nasty stuff in there, but it always like looks so cool to me. Unless I get it all bloody, then usually I'll leave it in for about a day or two.
Okay. Who does that for you? Do you find a local person, or do you have the same person who does it every time?
Actually, the UFC like lines people up. You're just like, they ask you, do you want your hair braided? Yes or no? Yes, and they just set somebody up, send them to your
Wow.
room, and yeah, I know it's pretty cool. And Victor used to do that too. They actually used to have they fly somebody out and have someone on site. So it's pretty cool that they kind of take care of that. And old school back in the day, I used to have to just like look somebody up on Craigslist and hope they weren't going to kill me.
Yes, yes. Did you ever have someone who tried to kill you that you hired?
No, no,
Okay.
fortunately, knock on wood.
Did you ever have any lemons like really bad at their job who had no idea what they were doing?
To be honest, probably like the worst job that I had was and I feel bad for saying this, but in Canada, because
Oh,
there tends not to be so many like ethnic people, and I think they're not so used to like, having to dig in and do like deep braids. And yeah, that was a little bad, but no, nothing too crazy. It's generally stayed out of my face for the most part.
is this are you referring to Halifax? Was it when you were in Halifax?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that wasn't the best.
Halifax.
Yeah, I
Did not.
mean, not to say that like white girls can't do hair, but like I think when you have more of like an ethnic community, you definitely get a lot more practice.
And is there a reason why you choose white?
Actually, it shows it better in my hair, but
Oh,
my fight colors were white. So I actually and the new white color for the UFC is like chalk now, so it's kind of a little gray too. So have a little bit gray mix in there somewhere, and
Oh,
I
wow.
always try and kind of color coordinate with whatever fight color I'm wearing. Like when I fought in Halifax, I was blue, so I kind of put like blue and white in my hair. Yeah, I actually got the idea because she's the first one who kind of really started doing that in her fights, and I always thought it was really cool.
Who's that? Sorry, you broke up when you were saying their name.
Oh, Felice Herrig, my best
Oh,
friend.
right. Of course, of course. Yes, of course. I still miss the Cookie Monster outfit. I'm still partial to that one.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I love to theme it up with the Cookie Monster stuff for sure. I wish I could. Yeah, I kind of miss being able to pick my own outfits. I'd love to find like a Cookie Monster singlet or something again, but you know,
Oh well, those were the days. I appreciate you coming on
yeah.
though, Carla. I appreciate it very much. Great fight on Saturday. I know it was disappointing, but thanks for coming on and talking about it all. And I'm looking forward to the next one.
Bye.
All right, there she is, Carla Esparza.